our company's perspective, which is that they're not necessarily special, but they're increased in that our viewpoint is the more data you have and the more people you have accessing it, the more chance that somebody's going to use that in a way that you don't want them to use it. And so we have a general rule of thumb that maybe 10% of the data, whatever the database is, 10% of that data needs to be protected from misuse. It used to be a few years ago in development environments that people would, to do their testing in QA, they would literally copy the production database over into the development QA. So they have all these tight, super tight controls on who can access the production environment. And then they just merely copy the entire thing over to a development test environment that could be exposed to literally thousands of people. And you're just relying on faith and trust that nobody's going to walk out of there with maybe your entire financial institution's customer database. And that situation has people realize they can't do that anymore. And that same thing really applies to big data, and it's going to be something that customers are going to have to monitor very carefully, that as they add data to whatever their big data implementation is, that they have a good understanding about what data, who gets to see what parts of that data, essentially. So I would say that's a fairly, it might not be a special, but it's a real risk that people are going to encounter right off the bat with the big data implementations.
Any others?
I'll jump in. So there's a few here, but only because I know we want to get to other questions. But they're kind of related. There's two. This lack of data tagging. You know, it's a concept started many moons ago. You see a little dabbling here and there, but there's a tagging aspect, and I think a little bit on we'll talk about something else. And then also changing of data to change outcomes, so config management. You know, this is something a lot of organizations have gone away from, and it's actually a key component and foundation capability to ensuring cybersecurity.